Bitch, you let me on my own. Ay, onto that dirty now.
Peace. What's good, guys? Let's talk about Impact for November the 17th, 2022. This was the go-home show for Overdrive. And overall, this go-home show was decent. You know, it was. I enjoyed it. And we will do the predictions for Overdrive. All right. So we kicked the show off with Black Taurus with Crazy Steve versus PJ Black to advance to the finals to face Trey Miguel. So Black Taurus, he wins, but before he comes to the ring, he's hyped up by Crazy Steve. So Black Taurus wins via Destination Hellhole. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for Black Taurus. He needed this, and this was very smart that they did this. Impact did some really good shit right here. Moving on, Scott D'Amore. So he mediates a contract signing between Josh Alexander and Frankie Kazarian. So Josh says that he respects Frankie and credits him with being the reason he dreamt of becoming X-Division champion. Kazarian returns the compliment, stating that not only does he respect Josh Alexander for the champion that he's become, but also the husband and the father. Kazarian says that Alexander inspired him to exercise Option C and become Impact World Champion, just like he did. Frankie says that he wants to ensure that Alexander's family is prepared for that. Alexander is joined by his wife, Jade, and she fires back at Kazarian. So tensions begin to rise between the two, and Kazarian tells Jade that he wasn't speaking to her. The more he de-escalates the situation, and then both contracts are signed, and then everyone dips out. So Josh and Kazarian, they're backstage, and Frankie apologizes to Josh. They're interrupted by Bully Ray. He's holding the Call Your Shot Gauntlet trophy. Bully tells Frankie that if he becomes the Impact World Champion at Overdrive, he's gonna call his shot honorably. And then Kazarian joins the rest of the Impact roster and not believing a word that comes out of Bully's mouth. Kazarian tells Alexander not to trust Bully. But then he tells Alexander after tomorrow it won't matter. Okay. This is interesting. There's still no heat to this story involving Josh and Frankie. It's not really that important. It's not. Moving on, we had a Fatal 4-Way tag team match. Motor City Machine Guns versus Aji Open versus Bullet Club, Ace Austin, Chris Bay versus Raj Singh and Shura. So Bullet Club, they win via the fold, and I'm proud of them. This is some really good shit for them. Hopefully they continue to get a push, and it seems like they are. They're still over with the crowd, obviously. So Jessica, she's not arrived to the Impact Zone for her match with Tasha Steelz tonight. So Taya tells Rosemary to let her loose and have a drink. Scott D'Amore, he authorized Valkyrie to take her place. Okay, who gives a shit? So, it's Taya Valkyrie versus Tasha Steelz with Rosemary and Savannah Evans. Taya wins via roll-up. Post-match, Steelz and Evans, they take out the Death Dolls for a second. Then Jessica makes the save and takes them out. So, Tommy Dreamer, him and Josh Alexander, they're backstage. Dreamer tells Alexander that he can trust Bully Ray, basically. That he knows him better than anyone. And longer than anyone. Next, Steve Macklin versus Tommy Dreamer. Old school rules. Macklin wins via the Killed in Action, or KIA, on a pile of steel chairs. Really cool shit. Post-match, Moose comes out and he beats the shit out of Dreamer. But Bully Ray makes the save, and then Josh Alexander, for whatever reason, he comes out, he cleans house. Him and Bully Ray, they put Macklin through a table, and Alexander hands Bully his Call Your Shot Gauntlet trophy, and Bully hands Alexander his world title. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? This feud has no heat to it. No one cares about this shit. Like, this is a waste of time. I am so fucking ready for Josh Alexander to lose his championship. I'm so over his title reign. So over it. And we have to wait until Rebellion until he loses it, because they're probably going to give him a year-long title reign anyway. It's coming. Next, I really enjoyed this segment right here. It was a really good interview. This was the first ever interview involving Masha Slamovich, my girl. So, Gia, she asked Slamovich if suffering her first loss to Jordan Grace was unexpected. So the whole time, Slamovich is speaking in Russian. Slamovich tells her that it was only one day and to forget about it. Slamovich goes on to say that nobody understands what must be done to win and what she does need to do. And she does what she needs to do. And that's why she's been away from Impact since Bound for Glory. And then Gia asked her another question. What's going to happen in her last knockout standing match against Jordan Grace at Overdrive? Slamovich just says death. I'm like, oh shit. So I'm really digging this. Now, I did predict that they were going to book this just to continue the feud, and I was right about that. I think everybody was right about that. But it kind of makes no sense. I don't think we need a last knockout standing match. I really don't think it calls for that stipulation just yet. I really don't. I'd much rather do like a 2 out of 3 falls or just another singles match, and maybe have the last woman standing match actually end the feud. That's just me. But we'll talk about that during the predictions. Moving on, Laredo Kid versus Rich Swann. Rich Swann wins via the 450 splash. Why does my boy Laredo Kid keep taking L's? Making no sense. He's good. Like, seriously, push the guy. He's a jobber on Impact. That's not good. That's not good. So Mickie James, she approaches Taylor Wilde and asked her why she got her involved in their match last week with Chelsea Green. And, the reason is because she told her not to. So Wilde said that she wasn't going to let James' career end like that because of Deonna Purrazzo's interference. After all, if it's going to be anyone to end James' career, she wants to be the one to do it. That being Taylor Wilde. And then we have the main event. The Death Machine's Double Jeopardy match. Eric Young versus Sami Callihan. So everyone's banned from ringside, but before the match, Violent by Design, Big Con, Diener, and Allen Angels, they all assault and beat down Sami Callihan. So he bleeds early on in this. And then Eric Young, he bleeds towards the end. So Sami bites the shit out of Eric Young's forehead, and he's gushing like a fucking faucet full of blood. And so the two fight some more. Towards the end of the match, Eric Young does his pile driver. Sami kicks out. Sami does his pile driver. Eric Young kicks out. Then towards the end of the match, then Sami whacks Eric Young 3 times in the head with a trash can lid and does the Cactus 97 for the 1, 2, 3. Sami Callihan celebrates. Then post-match, out of nowhere, Big Con, Angels, and Diener, they all return to the ring, and they stand over Eric Young's bloodied body. And I thought they were going to beat the shit out of him, but they just looked at him. So that was kind of interesting way to end the show. It actually makes sense. There actually might be a turn coming, but Diener and Angels, they don't seem like a leader. I'm guessing there could be some other people involved. I don't know. It's interesting to see where it goes. But they might end up turning on Eric Young, which actually would make a lot of sense because Eric Young basically lost to Sami Callihan. He's like the leader of it. That would be like for Bray Wyatt when he was in the Wyatt family and he would lose a major match, and in post-match you would see, God rest his soul, Luke Harper, a.k.a. Brody. So, yeah. If something like that were to happen, or, Schism, if that was to happen to Joe Gacy. I don't know. It's interesting to see where it goes. I don't know. All right, so let's go on to the predictions. But nonetheless, it was a good go home show. All right, so predictions. There's a pre-show. So there have been 2 matches that have been added. But Motor City Machine Guns versus Bullet Club, Ace Austin and Chris Bay. Chris Bay and Ace Austin, they need to win this. They actually seem like they're getting a push, and that needs to continue. I just wish that this wasn't on the pre-show. That's just me. Then there's going to be a 6-way for whatever reason. Kenny King, Yuya Uemura, Baginder Gujar, Jason Hotch, Mike Bailey, and Rich Swann. And it's a X Division free-for-all. My pick to win is Kenny King. And as a dark horse, probably Baginder Gujar. All right, on to the main card. Heath Slater and Rhino versus the major players, Brian Myers, Matt Cardona, for the Impact Tag Team Championships. Obviously, Heath and Rhino are going to retain. It makes the most logical sense. But this is Impact Wrestling, and they don't use logic very much. And Scott D'Amore, from time to time, will change his mind on some stuff, and he'll do some dumb shit. We don't need to hot potato the tag titles or any championship for a while. All right? So I'm going to go with Rhino and Heath. Let's continue on that same road. The Death Dolls versus Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans for the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championships. This is another championship or set of titles that have been hot potatoed to death. And it'll probably happen again. I'm going to have to go with Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans. I don't know why, but it actually makes sense. I'm kind of over the whole Jessica nonsense. I get that she's over with the crowd and everything else, but I don't really care for Taya and Jessica being champions. I really don't. I much rather would see Taya on her own. Same with Rosemary. Mickie James versus Taylor Wilde. Obviously, Mickie James is going to retain. My bad. Obviously, Mickie James is going to keep her career intact. I believe in due time she'll probably end up doing the job to either Deonna Purrazzo or Masha Slamovich. Let's continue on. Bully Ray versus Moose in a tables match. Bully Ray. And the X Division tournament finals for the vacated X Division championship. Black Taurus versus Trey Miguel. I love Trey Miguel. I really do. I'm a fan of his work. But Black Taurus needs this. And I do think that we need a fresh coat of paint on this. And ever since Mike Bailey came in and fucked up the X Division and completely buried so many guys, I think Black Taurus will be the perfect guy to rebuild it and to revive it. And the main event, Frankie Kazarian versus Josh Alexander for the Impact World Championship. Josh Alexander and Bully Ray very well could possibly get involved, but I don't see that happening at all. I thought that they were going to probably do PCO and Eddie Edwards, but it looks like they're going to save that for probably Hard to Kill in January, and that would actually make the most sense. So you kind of need the last month and a half of the year to build, and then, we can tell more of a story. But then again, you can also do the match at a taping later on, I guess. I don't know. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. Please hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe for my videos. I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Overdrive should be decent. Peace.
Everybody has a heroine, trying to find